Caffeinated Conversations with Brooke Allen After Dark Holiday Extravaganza. This is episode 3 for After Dark, but episode 1 for the Holiday Extravaganza. And we welcome Brooke Allen.
Hey, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Caffeinated Conversations After Dark with Brooke Allen. And a fun fact, we have done 3 of these shows, but this is the first show that is actually after dark, because the first one, which was at the Heights Brewery, that was at like 4 o'clock, I think. Mm-hmm. And then the second one was at Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak, and that one was at, I think, 5 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. So it was in the summer, so it wasn't really dark. But now, of course, it is dark and dreary out there. So we are so excited to be with you. This holiday extravaganza, it turned out so much. I mean, I didn't know what to expect, but this has been amazing. We have vendors, we have pinup girls, and carolers. It is really amazing. So thank you so much for being with us. And of course, we have our new logo premiering tonight. And is it coffee in here or is it something else? I'll never tell. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, Jason, you are with us. You are from Time Warp Vintage, and you have been with us from the beginning.
I have.
You're a dear friend. Mm-hmm. And you have
as you are.
Yes, thank you. And you have been a sponsor. And we've kind of gotten into this groove. And mm-hmm. we're at the Imagine Palladium in Birmingham, 4th floor. I always say that because we had some people who went to the other Imagine and they were like, we're on the escalator.
They did.
Like, what escalator? No,
they absolutely did.
So so we are, this has just been amazing with the vendors and everything going on. But the beautiful pinup girls, so you took care of them. So tell me who
I
they
did.
are. Yeah, so
okay,
introduce them.
So we, and you know Lana.
I do know Lana.
We did the Hot Wheels show with Lana. And so we have, I'll let them introduce themselves, actually. Right. So I'm going to move out of the way and let them walk up one at a time.
Okay, let's do it.
And they're going to also tell you what experience they had.
Awesome.
A little one. So excuse me.
All right. Hi, Lana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lana Lenore. I am a pinup girl that lives in Hazel Park. I was recently crowned Miss 2024 Hot Wheels, and I'm just really excited about that. And I'm here with my 2 lovely girlfriends, Ada Weiss and Lena Lenore. Lena Allure, sorry. I got my name in there, sorry.
It's okay. So, hi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
I'm Ada Weiss. I am a award-winning burlesque performer and pinup model. And I'm a mom of 2. And so that's kind of my life.
Is this your night out?
It is my night out.
It's my night out too.
It's my working night out.
Awesome.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. You guys are so good. I love those dresses.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yes, thank you so much for being here. And who are you? I have not met you.
Hi, I am Lena Allure.
Oh, okay.
I am one of the Detroit burlesque performers. Okay. So you can catch us around in the area. I do a lot of costuming and it's amazing. So if you want to catch some of my acts, they're mostly made by me.
Okay, so tell me about burlesque, because some people, it's like, is it raunchy? Is it class? People have a different perception. So clear it up for me.
There is a variety of different burlesque styles. So you can have nerdlesque, you can have very adult burlesque, and you can have very classic burlesque. So it really depends on like hand motions and where you place things and or how funny you want to be.
Really?
Yeah.
And so it's all about attitude a little bit,
all
right?
About
attitude and behavior.
Yep.
Okay, so how long have you been a pinup girl?
I've been doing pinup for about 15 years.
Okay.
And I've been doing burlesque for about 10.
Okay. And what about, how long have you been doing it, Lana?
Probably about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. When I started, I lived in Virginia when I grew up in Virginia. And when I moved here, I actually went to Autorama and met Ada Weiss, and she introduced me to the girls in the area. And I got to go on photo shoots. I got to do events like this. And from there, it just grew into something where I met a lot of girls that had the same interests as me. And, you get to dress up and just have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. And how about you?
About a dozen years.
Okay.
A dozen years for pinup modeling and burlesque. Oh my gosh, it's been like 8 years.
7, 8, yeah.
Something like that.
Really?
7 or 8 years,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is what I have found interesting, because I've known you, Lana, for a while, and Miss Hot Wheels, right? Because Jason and I were there when that happened. And the whole idea of pinup girls, and people kind of have this perception of, oh, they're just pretty and don't do much, but you guys all do. You have amazing jobs, and this is like your side hustle, right?
Yes.
This is just for fun.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just for fun, right? So that is what is so awesome, and I just appreciate you guys all being here, and thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I do have to tell you that these lovely hair pieces were made by Lana with the pretty little things that you can
I thought so.
pick up at Time Warp.
Yes, so
Yeah.
those are beautiful, and then she also has jewelry too.
She does. She has an entire line of jewelry that we carry, and she also has on her Instagram.
Okay.
So pretty little things, pretty little vintage thing.
Yes.
Pretty little things. You can
Yes.
find it that way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. And it's a pleasure to have you here. And it's just added so much to the holiday extravaganza. So thank you. Okay, give me one more pose. Come on, do it. Woo! Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. So I guess I should say that the After Dark show, this started as a collaboration between local restaurants and breweries and with Mothers Against Drunk Driving, because Jason and I both have personal experiences with that. So that has been kind of our motive and our goal behind this, is to kind of get behind the bar and to raise awareness, but do it in kind of a cool way, because the perception is, oh, well, we don't need to hear that. And there's so many different options to get home. So that is how the After Dark started, because somebody said, well, you need to lose the news anchor part of you and kind of be more fun and cool. So they said, so go to a bar. And then I said, I can't really do that, because I do speak for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And so that has been kind of our goal of these After Dark shows. So it has been my pleasure to be a part of this and to start this. And I just want to thank all of you for being with us. But the After Dark show, here's the kicker. It is all about relationships. And Carrie Craywick is here from the Birmingham Maple Clinic. And of course, Vina Bodie is here, and you work with your husband. Your husband will be up in just a minute,
Yes,
Zach, right?
yes.
Okay, so Carrie, the holidays are a little bit stressful because people, if they're in a new relationship, an old relationship, I mean, there's that stress of, oh my God, what if I say I love you? Or what do I get you? Do I get you something from the dollar store? What do I do, right? Okay, so what is your advice for people in a new relationship at the start of the holidays?
Gosh, it's so complicated. Like you said, it's also, do we introduce ourselves to our families, or are you going to the friend invite or the work event or whatever else? So there's so many things. I mean, I think it's probably communication overall, is just talk about it and talk about your internal conflicts. So instead of talking to the person about what they want, is like, hey, I'm a little torn. You know, like, part of me wants to include you in this part of my life, work or
Right.
home or friends, and the other part of me is not sure where we're going. So like, can you help me with like these two different sides of myself?
So how do you start that conversation?
I mean, I really love, like I said, I actually think that the Inside Out franchise like really helped with this, is that we have parts of ourselves. So it's okay to kind of introduce those, to say, hey, one part of me is really excited about this, or one part's really nervous to ask you, or one part of me is like, would be delighted if you came. The other part maybe would be anxious that you wouldn't be comfortable or I wouldn't be. So to be able to kind of highlight those different parts of yourself is a way to segue into some of those more deeper conversations.
Okay, so of course you're talking about the Inside Out franchise, which had anxiety,
Mhm.
joy.
Mhm.
What were the other ones? Anger, embarrassment?
sadness, probably.
right?
Yeah, the new
Okay.
one had the
The
French
goth.
word. Yeah, the goth one.
The
with
goth
the
one was
French,
like,
the French
Oh,
word.
I'm so over this, right?
Friendly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So what's so funny is that I've seen it on Facebook all over the place, especially as the holidays approach. It's like, listen, if you're just starting to date somebody and you're taking them to a Christmas or a holiday gathering, have them stand on the edge so they can be cut out of the pictures. Right? So but there is that anxiety of
Sure.
introducing people.
Yeah.
And do you think that they should wait until after the holidays? Or I mean, what is the advice?
I mean, obviously there's many events that you would want to see, how does a person fit in your life and how do you feel about them fitting in your life? If you feel not very certain that they're going to fit
And
well,
maybe they shouldn't go, right?
well, right. Or there's something that you need to explore within yourself. Why are you bringing these fears into this?
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of pressure right now. I mean, really from childhood age up to adulthood, that like you always have to make like the right choice. And that if you brought the wrong guest to a family holiday, that this would be a forever mistake. It's like, I mean, this could be a learning lesson. This could
Right.
be an opportunity. This could be a family inside joke for years to come. It doesn't necessarily have to be
Like so serious.
like so serious, like a huge failure.
Like,
Yeah, no.
Here's your Christmas present.
Yeah.
I don't love you. Right? So there's kind of that feeling. And of course, you, Vita, you and your husband, Zach, work together.
Yes.
And so Zach, come on up here. I'm going to just call him up here.
Okay.
I know,
please
right?
do. Have him come on up.
So come over. Where's he going? So come over. Oh, is he coming over here? Okay.
Get over.
I feel like,
Hi there.
hi, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Okay, so how long have you guys been married?
13 years.
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought he was
It
going to
a-
pause,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I thought he was like,
I know you
I
put me on the
took it.
spot. I
I
got a little
took it.
nervous for a second.
okay, so 13 years, and you guys also work together.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep, that's a little bit newer.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how is that?
It's really good. We make sure that we communicate really well to make sure that we have our list of our work priorities
Okay.
aside from our home priorities,
Yep.
and we have meetings about that once
Oh.
a week so that we can keep those
That's
separate.
good, right?
So-
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. That's good to hear. So, we're doing it right.
Right.
So, okay, so you guys work together and you're married, of course.
Yes.
13 years. Do you have
Mhm.
kids?
No
Nope, no
kids.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no kids.
children.
Okay, so Carrie, what do you think about couples who work together?
Well, I am in a family where I sometimes work with my husband too,
Okay.
and his parents work together and he works for them. So I have family
Oh.
businesses. I mean, this is more common than most people realize. And I think, the thing you said was so amazing is even having those boundaries. I thought, oh my gosh, that gave me like a little light bulb. I'm like, oh my gosh, are my husband and I, are we talking about our work life
Yeah.
and our home life and those priorities? And of course, it can bleed together. I think the other thing, and I witnessed this with my, own in-laws and their relationship, is like, right, sometimes you're out to dinner and all of a sudden you're talking about work, and then, or you're like at holidays and you're all of a sudden talking about work and like how to have those boundaries and how to navigate them. But they're also your sources of stress and joy and pride. And so
Right.
they're going to come up
Right.
anyways. But I guess that's just always kind of like taking a look inside yourself. Are we talking, is it too much work at home or too much home at work? Then maybe we need to reevaluate.
Okay, so it's interesting you said that because
Yeah.
years ago I dated somebody who said, you know what, this is just too much work for me.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, I get it. Okay, bye. Right? And never talk to him again. But the
Yeah.
whole idea is that relationships are work,
Mhm.
right?
They are. Yeah.
I mean, so I guess it's whether or not you want to put in the investment,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right?
Sure. And
Yeah.
like what, I love one of the things that you said, but like kind of like what's like if there's a symmetry or a similarity in just like what you want to employ, like how much is good for us, and maybe it's not the same for two people, like, one is maybe more work focused and one is more home focused or whatever. It's like, but can we do like a little of me and a little of you and like
Right.
find that space knowing that it's a continuum.
Right.
It's really important.
Amy, hi.
Hi. All right. So I am told that, we're talking about relationships.
We are.
I am told that there is a special question that you were going to
yeah, I
be
was.
talking about. What was the
What was the
question,
question?
Brooke?
Okay, so the question is all around the holidays because it goes back to the beginning of relationships. So if you start dating somebody in like October,
Mhm.
right? And then you start feeling the stress of, okay, so do I buy them a necklace? Do I buy them a notebook? What do I buy them? And how do you know when to make it serious? So a
Sure.
gift, how much significance does a gift have to anybody in a new relationship?
Yeah, I guess that, you could lead into like
Right.
how leading do you want to be with
Right.
the gift or how
Exactly.
serious
So
are you
there's a
gonna-
lot of stress involved in that.
Right.
So okay, let me ask you this. So do you remember, Zach, the very first present you bought her?
God, would put me on the spot.
I'm thinking no.
The first present that I got her. Well, I think that would have been Sweetest Day.
Oh,
And I got her a mug filled with chocolates, and they're like little ladybug chocolates.
Okay,
Basically
all right,
from like the
okay.
local candy shop.
okay.
Yeah,
How about
sweet.
your gift for him?
For Sweetest Day, I don't know. I know the first Christmas gift I got for him was like a handwritten note with like pictures and like a shadow box type.
So
of
how long had you
situation.
guys been together before the holiday?
Maybe just like 3 months.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that
right,
was
right
pretty
in
good.
there.
So they
Okay.
weren't any big, huge
Extravagant,
investments,
right?
like
Right.
with money, but they both like were cute
And they were thoughtful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, what the first gift I got for my husband or
Mhm.
gave to him, it's so funny you mentioned this. My husband and I were really young when we met. We were like, I was 20, he was 21, and we were from, different parts of town. So we had different like sort of values and understandings of presents. So part of what came across our relationship is talking about that. Like, if you come from a family where there's gift giving and there might be big ticket items, but they don't
Mhm.
really touch your heart. My husband told me this holiday season, he said, Carrie, I have absolutely everything I need. He said, the best thing you could give me is the things you already do, like make my breakfast in the morning. And like, so it's like, just having those conversations over time, and to me, and especially when I was young and new, and of course they were beautiful things, but they were far beyond what my mind, and I had guilt and anxiety, like, oh my God, I cannot repay this.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? And, but that wasn't really the expectation. I would feel much more comfortable also with, not having to outdo each other,
Right.
and so
Like,
it takes,
oh, this is what I got you. What'd you get me? And then you're like, oh, it's a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Well, I would be thrilled, but
yeah, exactly. Well, one of the sweetest gifts my husband ever got me was Valentine's Day, and I had no idea he had saved every single card I had ever sent him from our
That's
long distance
sweet.
relationship, and so we reread them over
Really?
Valentine's dinner. So I think sometimes it's just like it's through time. If you're a gift person, so if you're familiar with the love
Okay, so the
languages,
love languages, right?
So some people do feel very extremely touched and known by the gifts they give or receive, whereas other people are sort of indifferent to things. And and I've had couples where there's been fights. I had a woman who bought her husband something she spent a lot of time figuring out, and then he passed it on to his son because his son needed it, and she was like, but I gave that to you.
Like a lot of thought went into that,
but he
right?
was like, but he needed it, you know? So like they had it was neither one of them was like sort of wrong morally in that moment, but they just had different understanding about what the gift meant.
Okay, so let's talk about love
Sure.
languages because it is interesting. So, okay, so
Yeah.
what's your love language?
I'm touch.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. How about you?
Yeah, what was mine?
I think we were both.
He's like, I don't even
we
remember
took
mine.
it when we first started dating.
Yeah,
I think we were
it's really-
both touch, and we thought that was interesting that we both give and receive love the same way.
Yeah,
That is.
So I
fortunate.
don't remember what our seconds were, but they were
Okay.
the first was both.
Okay,
touch,
but you're
so.
okay.
Well,
So
that's great. I mean, that's a huge point. One thing I find with couples is that, like, right there, you have to sort of learn a like Spanglish, for lack of a better words, because you have to know what you're giving and what they're receiving, and what they're giving and what you're receiving, and it has to be a bit of a blend. That otherwise you're just not communicating. You're not
so what
understanding each other.
about expectation? Because I have found
Sure.
that that is like the worst thing, right? You expect that big old diamond.
Right.
You get the ladybug in a box. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously. So
Sure.
expectations.
Yeah,
How do you
no.
manage
Yeah.
expectations? in
Sure.
a
I mean,
relationship?
always. I mean, I think if you haven't communicated or been communicating it, that I mean, I always think, and I've said this saying many times before, happiness equals reality minus expectations. So the higher your expectations are, and the further reality deviates from that, the more miserable you're going to be. So the closer your expectations can be to reality, and reality the best by just communicating it. What is really going on here? Where are we at about certain things?
Okay, but why is it so hard? I mean, if you're really attracted to somebody and you really like them, why is it so hard to tell them your expectations?
Well, I think there's an element of vulnerability, and there also an element of like you have to have self-awareness. Like, is my expectation reasonable? I mean, a lot of people nowadays do these like sort of collective expectations. Oh, everybody must be married with children by 30 or something, or like, but that's not necessarily reality. It's actually probably not reality,
right?
Yeah, right. And so like, but that we have these sort of like collective expectations that we just really need to challenge. And what is really important to me, another saying I love, I repeat all these things, but is instead of intimacy, think of into me I see. Into me I see.
Into
and
me,
I
okay.
see. So instead of intimacy, think of into me I see. Do I know what I want, what makes me tick, what's important to me, and do I feel comfortable sharing it with someone else? If I can share it and that person can respond with safety and compassion and kindness, and then they share with me something about themselves and I respond the same, then we are intimate.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not all about sex.
No.
It's like, okay, so when you guys first met, was it like love across the room, or was it, what was it?
Actually,
Oh, it was. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you guys meet?
Go for it. I'll let him.
Come on, Zach.
It's kind of a long story, but I'll keep it short.
All right.
We met at a certain client that I had, and they were going out of business, unfortunately. And so she was employed there. I'd never met her before, but sparked up a conversation. And then me being the shy person that I am, didn't ask for contact information, didn't ask for number. I was just kind of hoping that she would just give it out, right?
And I didn't.
She did not. And so I was like, man, oh man, I said, all right, I hope I see you again as kind of the
Aw.
hint.
Yeah.
And she goes, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
You're like, bye, Felicia.
Okay, I was like, okay, well, that's a missed opportunity, but okay.
Right.
Well, a couple months later, I walked into another client, and she
I
was
was
the
there.
receptionist.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
so you got, okay, so would you
Yeah.
say
Second
that is fate?
I
don't know
I
if
took it as like I took it as more of a I had been in like bad points in relationships
Okay.
and like failed things in the
Mhm.
past. And I just remember thinking like, wow, he's so nice and charming and ambitious. I wish I could find somebody like that.
Right.
And then it was like lightning bolts from the heavens, like, hey, I just put him in front of your path.
Like here
2
he is again,
times
right?
in a row. And I was like, oh, like that.
Right.
I should probably take that cue.
Okay,
a little
so
bit.
what did you think when you saw her again?
I think I said, it's you. And
Yeah.
I kind of stopped for a second.
Yeah.
And I wrapped up the IT service I was performing there and got out of there really quick. And I was like, man, I got to take this opportunity. So
Yeah.
being the professional that I am, I called my client and said, I think I need to ask your receptionist out.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Oh,
And so then I,
so
That's sweet.
respectful.
Yeah,
Well, you know.
he's a good guy.
then we
Really?
exchanged information.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah.
Okay, so after the first date, did you know?
I had a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, I want to
I
say
wouldn't
with
say I would like no, but I had a pretty. darn
Yeah.
Give me a
good feeling.
percentage.
I will say like probably 2 months into dating, we were already like talking about finances
Yes.
and like
Okay.
so we knew pretty quick that like this
Okay,
was
so I mean,
like, a good
really
thing.
big, tough conversations
Yeah.
at the
Mhm.
beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually
yeah.
one of my like favorite things that we talk about that we do
all the time.
is like we talked about finances early on and
Mhm.
said, hey, why don't we save a little money together? And we started with a very small amount
Wow.
in a small account
Yeah.
that we were both on, and she could have taken the money and ran at any point.
And
I
so
could have done the
could
same.
he. Yeah.
And so as time grew, we grew that account and grew the amount we were contributing.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like a nice trust kind of like
Sure, right?
thing
Building
to start off
kind
with.
of
Yeah.
thing.
It's such an awesome thing to just even have like a story. Like I think like most couples don't necessarily tell their story with fondness over and over again.
Right.
How did we meet? How did it work? Like
And
what were the-
remember, right?
and remember it. But it's through, I mean, it's not just even in our own families of origin, it's through telling stories that we like have this connection to our past, and like through things come the resilience, like what were our hard parts, and can we talk about them and tell that story with like humor and joy and like a
And a
sense
smile,
of, yeah,
right?
and a
They're both
smile and a
smiling.
sense of heroism.
Yeah.
It's like a really like being able to narrate your life is a really important skill to have. And like I said, even the research on resilience says that there's a lot of resilience that comes from being able to do that and being able to ask questions, even from the generations before you, and hear their stories.
Okay, so define resilience.
So resilience is really our ability to bounce back. It's our ability to go through something hard, and instead of like an egg, just like, crack on the ground. It's our ability to bounce
Okay.
back and to take from it, so like we all go through traumas, hardships, difficulties, but like to be able to recover from them in some kind of way where you have some kind of like a lesson or growth opportunity
And
ability
really
to
take
go
advantage of that,
and
right?
restore your normalcy to whatever the new normal is.
So what's interesting to me is that finances are always a very tough topic. And
Sure.
it's really cool to me that was like one of your first topics
Yeah.
that they talked about.
Yeah, very much so.
How unusual is that?
Super unusual. Super unusual.
That's us, yeah.
Par for the course.
Yeah, super unusual. I think everybody knows it's a tough topic, but also like, there's such a, like start of dating, face saving kind of
Right.
thing where it's like, what are we going to talk about or not talk about? There's family histories about how much about money do we talk about if you're from
Right.
a family that's like, we don't tell anybody what we have or
Yes.
whatever. And so like, so people are kind of, you enter in a relationship with a lot of factors that make that hard. And so like that there was even some place to be able to start and talk about it is really great. So I mean, who knows? People have had divorces or bankruptcies or whatever. And it's like, you can't go on a first date and be like, well, by the way, I'm like $40,000 in debt. And
Here's my credit report.
That's not
Do you
really,
still love me?
yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
like not really the way. But then it's like, I mean, and I've seen this. I'm working with a client on this topic right now, because then at the moment that it was revealed, you're maybe 11 months into a relationship, and then it's like almost like finding out you had a kid you've never told me about or something.
Right,
So
right.
it's like, when
Yeah.
is the moment that you reveal that? And especially in our culture and things right now, it's like you can see from both sides. There was not a moment that was going to be easily shared, and there wasn't a moment that was going to be easily revealed. But what do we do with that information now? So to even just to encourage the sharing and that like intimate part,
Right.
and to be happy you heard it, even if it wasn't the greatest information, helps to have openness moving forward.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm just so curious. So you
Yeah.
guys said that you have meetings
Yeah.
So what do you talk about in those meetings?
Oh.
Go over the agenda.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we every Sunday we sit down for about 15 to 30 minutes and we go over our week's agenda because it can get crazy with our multiple businesses and adventures. We talk
love that.
about our to-do list so that we're not throwing things out
Do
at
you-
each other.
Are you
the
both
middle
type
of the week.
A's or type B's? What do we got
I'm
going on
definitely
here?
type A.
We're probably both
Yeah.
a little
Oh, you
type
are?
A.
I'm a type C.
So yeah, we do our to-do list so that he's not getting the honey-do list on a Wednesday when he's got work up to his eyeballs.
Right.
So we do that. We talk about our personal goals
Yep. Personal goals.
for the week. Like,
Love that.
oh, we want to drink more water. Oh, I want to work out twice this week.
That's cool.
We always set a date night.
Yep.
Which
set a
is-
date.
Okay, so so you guys have been married for 13 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so date night happens how often?
Once a week.
Ever since then?
We've been doing our meetings for about 5 years
Yeah,
now.
yep.
And so, once a week for
Really?
5 years. Yeah.
It's important because otherwise it just
Yeah.
kind of slips away, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
well, I'll get
Yeah.
to that tomorrow, or oh my gosh, something came up and I can't do this tonight. So we set it, and that's like a non-negotiable on my calendar.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And the couple
That is
times that
awesome.
we've had to either push them around, like maybe very few times that we've had to do that, we are so appalled. We're so sorry.
Yeah.
Like that should never happen again. And they can range from going out to like a fancy dinner, going downtown Detroit,
Mhm.
staying the night down there, or even just like I think this Friday we're gonna make some salads and do a
Right.
workout together. So we have a lot of events
Yeah.
coming
Got a lot
up,
of
and we
stuff
didn't
going
want to go out to
Right.
dinner. So, but just that intentional time
And then
together.
I think one of the most important parts of the meeting is our the end of it. It's
Oh yeah.
likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so this week I liked that you did X, Y, or Z, and I disliked this. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
creates an easy space for us to kind of communicate about like
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me that is that a learned behavior from how you were raised, or is it something you had?
no, we did
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
My family did not talk about finances. We did not
Okay.
talk about
Interesting.
feelings. We did not
Likes
talk
and
about
dislikes.
any of this stuff. Right,
Okay,
exactly.
so how did you manage that?
So that
I mean,
kind of
that's a-
manifested into our meetings a little bit later on. The meeting structure came from like a business actually.
Yeah.
And we realized that it just works for us.
Okay.
And then you had a client, right?
Yeah,
that-
somebody had told me that I want to say maybe one of their therapists or something had said, go over once a week like your puzzlements and your things that you like, so that you can kind of get those awkward feelings out of the way instead of holding onto them for
Right.
weeks and weeks and weeks and having that resentment and then blowing up about something like the socks on the floor
Mhm.
or something.
Right.
So we make sure we
which
talk
I don't
about
do
that.
anymore.
He doesn't.
No, I think it's
Yeah.
great because I know it's coming at that
Mhm.
point. Like I'm expecting to receive some kind of criticism, and it's okay for that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the space for that, which I think is great.
Instead of like on a random night where I'm like, your socks are on the floor. So that's what we do.
I'll replace the word criticism with complaint. So the healthiest relationships, you should be allowed to make a complaint to your partner.
Love it.
A complaint is a behavior, like a comment about their behavior. I'm a wet towel on the bed offender because
My head just exploded.
I will take my wet towel off and start getting dressed, and the wet towel stays
Oh my
on.
God, I love that.
So right, so that's a complaint about a behavior, but you're so lazy you never remember the towel is a criticism. So criticism is a character
Yes.
attack about a person. A complaint is about their behavior. So there should be space for complaints in your relationship. But I love this thing you do too about like the positive and the negative,
Yeah.
because the sort of like relational bank accounts in their best place would have 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. So, obviously doing something like a date night, even doing that meeting and even talking positively with fondness about your history and stuff, these are all positives in the bank account. So like the one day someone randomly leaves their socks somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna look at socks again the same way.
Wait, are you
honestly.
kidding?
So
I've
funny.
got a husband who puts his socks under the coffee table, a kid who puts his socks on the coffee table, and a daughter who puts her socks just
everywhere. Like just
Yeah.
it's okay. I have a dog that chews socks.
So yes,
There it is, right?
we're just about to get to that. So yeah, we have all kinds of sock conversations at our house. But yeah, to be able to say, right, like, so if we have 5 positive, like, thankful gratitude moments for everyone where we have to offer, I love that you call them puzzlements, but I would call them complaints. I think complaints are fair,
Mhm.
especially when they're done in ration. If it's overly negative, everything's, you didn't this, you didn't that, you didn't this, you didn't that. But if you can do the 5 positive for every 1 negative. it's
Okay,
great.
so so one more question. How do you frame a complaint in a positive way.
Sure. I mean, I love one of the things you guys talk about is, I mean, I call like the Mary Poppins, like a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. If it's well cocooned with like, I loved the way you did this week, or this really helped me out, and thank you for this, but also, and also.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Like, also with along all those things, like you left the garage door open and now we have a mouse or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you could, it's like, if it's cushioned with a few other positives and it well in that bank account. I mean, also like understanding like, hey, I know you were in a rush and you were carrying a ton of things, but you forgot to lock the door. And I get very anxious, home alone with the door unlocked or something. Like if you can kind of give the rationale and from the I statement, like this is why it's important to me. Like it may seem kind of silly to you or you're in a hurry or whatever, but like, yeah, when my husband comes home, the wet towel's on his side of the bed, like,
That's right. Funny.
Yeah. So
That's not one of his love languages.
Yeah. Wet towel. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would be right. So if it's cocooned in a lot of positivity, but also from my, like, I understand where you're coming from, just so you know, this is why it matters to me.
Okay. So one more question.
Perfect.
So for any new relationship out there, what is if you had one word to say to somebody getting involved in a relationship, what would it be?
One word.
I'll piggyback and say communication, hands down.
You stole it.
Well, that's good. We're on the
It's
same brainwave.
communication.
Yeah.
Oh, so you
100%.
both agree?
It's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Yeah. Because if you don't have
In
like
any relationship.
you have to have that to keep building
Right.
on top of, and all the things we just talked about we wouldn't have if we didn't communicate
Right.
constantly. So
That is so amazing. Thank you guys both
Yes,
so-
thank
for
you.
being
Thanks for
here.
having
It's
us,
such a
Brooke.
great,
Thank
great conversation. And
Perfect.
okay, so we've been
Hi, how are you?
good. So we have been asking the audience members questions. So one is answer to the relationship question, and then also about New Year's resolutions. So Chef Johnny is with me, and I'm going to read just a few of these. So you'll love this one.
Okay.
So the answer to the relationship question is just drink more. And as somebody who owns a speakeasy, I'm sure you appreciate that one, right?
Absolutely. Hydration is important.
It is.
It's
isn't
very
it?
important.
It
You got to
is.
hydrate.
It
you
is.
know?
Okay, so this one is support isn't just for undergarments. That's shocking. Okay, we're moving on.
No underwires?
Yeah. This isn't okay. So answer to relationship no jewelry. What? I am always going to take jewelry, man. Right? Isn't that crazy? Okay, so this one is my favorite. Yes, dear, you are correct. That is the one, right? Who wrote this one? Is anyone in here that wrote this?
Yes.
Oh, Sue, did you write this? Oh, okay, because whoever wrote this is going to get a gift card. So they better confess and tell me who they were.
What's it say?
It says answer to the relationship question is yes, dear, you are correct. Okay, so find out who that is because they win a gift card. How do you like that?
That's pretty good.
Right? I know, right? Hi,
That's
Dave.
pretty good.
Hi. Okay, so Chef Johnny, you are here. You are from Alchemy in
Yep.
downtown Royal Oak.
Yep.
And we are talking about date night with you.
Mhm.
Because you have a very, how do you describe the restaurant upstairs?
Well, the restaurant upstairs is kind of actually both restaurants are kind of designed to be date places.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I converted it from a sports bar, so I had like 42 TVs, and now I have 42 pieces of art.
I was going to say now there's no TVs.
You know, so I think that part of what we do is we really kind of surround people with things to talk about
Mhm.
that are not sports.
Right.
you
Right,
know, so much.
exactly.
And I think that's quite important.
Okay, so
You
that and the restaurant upstairs, I mean, Alchemy is like fine dining. It is beautiful. The artwork, the bar is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And the wine, you're a big sommelier, right?
Yep. We like all three.
Yes.
You
And the
know,
cocktails, the craft cocktails.
three legs of the stool,
Yes,
right?
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And then downstairs, though, he's got the speakeasy, which
Which
you
is-
need a code for, which was so awesome. when
It's
I
an
read it.
adventure,
It
you know.
is.
I mean, it's fun, and you know, if you're going on a date, okay, for somebody first
Right.
time, right,
Right,
and you don't tell them where you're taking them,
right.
okay, and you take them to the speakeasy, they have no idea what they're doing. I mean, they're ringing a doorbell, they're giving a secret code, they're literally walking down an industrial restaurant
Yeah.
basement,
Yeah, you're like
know,
going through the kitchen.
and then they open the door and they go, wow, you know. So
It is
it
awesome.
kind of does set a date up for a conversation immediately.
Right.
You know, I mean,
So if it's a
it-
first date, it's not awkward because you have something to talk about.
Absolutely, and that's there's a lot to be said for that. You know, I think that we've really succeeded in that regard in terms of being a date place. And honestly, the speakeasy was my son's idea.
Really?
And my son told me, one of the things he said to me, he said, "Dad, make it a date place."
Oh.
He said, "Make it a date place," and we did, and we've succeeded at that. It's kind of heartwarming because I do reservations a lot because we do text only reservations
Right.
downstairs, and so many people come to our restaurants and say, we're celebrating our birthday, we're celebrating our anniversary, we're celebrating this, we're celebrating that, and it just makes me feel good that they want to celebrate something in our restaurants.
Right.
But part of that's because we give them things to talk about, we don't give them distractions. I mean, to me, would you want to take somebody on a date and have them watch the football game over your shoulder?
Not
You know what I'm
really.
saying? I mean, that's just not the thing. That's just not the thing.
Right.
And we kind of go out of our way to put a little bit of theatrics into our cocktails. We really try to present really beautiful food, and it furthers the conversational point of it.
For sure.
I mean, we even put fresh edible flowers and herbs in our front window.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when you
amazing.
walk in the door, you have something to talk about. Because we do have a very strong farm to table program, very strong sustainability program, which we really believe in, and there's just a lot of topics, and we're proud of that.
How many proposals have you had at your restaurant?
Oh, we've had a number of proposals, probably about 7,
Okay.
and we've had 1 wedding.
Yeah. So that is awesome. The wedding was
Yeah.
on Halloween.
It was a Halloween
Halloween
wedding,
wedding.
and we're not a big place. I mean, you can't have a big wedding in our restaurant, that's for sure. But a 50, 60 person wedding, we can knock it out of the park.
And that was awesome. Okay, so we found who wrote this. And so, so yes, dear, you are correct. This is yours.
I did, yes.
What's your name?
Tim.
Hello, Tim. So
Great answer.
Explain this.
Great
Well, I think it's just,
It's just self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, don't sweat the little things. Like,
Right.
it's not worth getting upset over anything. So just, if it's an easy solution, just yes, let's do it.
Let's just do it. How long have you been married?
18 years?
18.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, she's like, smile and nod, honey. Smile and nod. 18 years.
You went for the confirmation.
Yes, he went for the confirmation, right?
yeah.
He's like,
Good job.
Okay, so do you remember the first gift you ever gave her?
No.
How about you? Oh, she doesn't either.
No.
Okay. Well, listen, here's a gift card for you.
Oh, thank you.
Because you answered this. Yes, sir, you are correct. So, yeah. So, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And so, if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody in a new relationship, what would it be?
I would say, well, just like little things, like nothing has to be extravagant. Just like, our first dinner was in our dorm room and I made steaks on a George Foreman and I had a bottle of wine.
There you go.
So like,
Awesome.
There you go.
I love that.
That is awesome. Yes.
Just like,
Well done. Just tell me.
oh, it's medium rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just the little things.
Just
like,
the little things,
yeah,
right?
everything incremental.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, your wife is over there. But what would you say as I yell to you?
Oh, advice?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's gonna sound weird, but like learn how to fight and make up and get over it.
Huh?
Like too many people like get in an argument and that's the end of it, and you stay mad. Like get to it, learn how to work through things, communication, and then you're good.
And you're good, right?
There you
Okay.
go.
So the whole idea of never go to bed angry, right?
Yeah.
Is that what something you guys?
Work through it.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
just work through it and
Because it's not that big of a deal,
Right.
honestly, at the end of the day.
yes, dear, you are correct. Here's another gift card.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here before she's broke.
Thank you so much for being
Oh, that was
here.
beautiful.
Seriously. So Dave is here, and so Dave, tell me your title because it's very fancy.
My fancy title is I am the Automotive and Industrial Curator for the Detroit Historical Society.
How about that?
Wow.
I know,
It sounds
right?
really impressive, doesn't
Wow,
it?
you're a car guy.
He's
I am.
fancy.
You're a car guy.
My colloquial title is I'm their car guy.
Yeah,
Very
that's
much
cool.
so.
Okay, so there's a lot of activity going on at the Historical Society, right?
We try to keep things busy.
Yes, you do. So I mean, you are a car guy. We're friends on Facebook, and I see all of the cars you post, and I
Yep.
think you have 25,000 cars.
Me personally,
Yes.
I have 2 in process right
Okay,
now.
well, I don't know.
Okay.
You flip them around all the
I
time.
do.
Okay, so when you are married, so
am.
when you are in a car, I mean, how much does a car mean to you?
It's a
When-
tough question.
It is, I know.
I'll say this, I've been married 27 years, and I've had one wife and a lot of cars.
Here's a gift card
Well,
for
there
you.
you go.
I had a really good friend that gave me that piece of advice. We were actually at a Barrett Jackson auto auction,
Okay.
and he went off and bought 2 or 3 cars and came back. But he kept coming back, and his wife was sitting with me, and we were laughing in the press box. And he goes, the reason he said, I'm a little bit older than you. He's like, a lot of my friends are on their second or third wife, and I look at them and they collect all these things, and then they lose them all, and then they have to start again. He goes, so I found by keeping the same wife, I was able to accrue a lot more things. So it's words of wisdom from my buddy Mike. Really.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Mike.
Right. Okay. So, Johnny, Alchemy is a beautiful restaurant, and the speakeasy and everything else, and the date nights that you see. Can you tell when somebody walks into the restaurant and they're like on a first date?
Oh yeah, it's interesting to watch somebody walk in before the other date, and it's one of those like Tinder kind of things.
Right.
Oh, and how nervous they are to see what's actually going to walk through the door. Because people put fake pictures on there.
Oh.
They do. I mean, it's not all totally legitimate,
right, but I wouldn't.
And I don't know that from experience. I know that from stories. It's just 38 years. Exactly. Okay, I'm
38 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so Johnny's been married 38 years. You've been married
27.
27. Okay, I'm going to clap for that because that is amazing.
It's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah,
it is
wonderful.
phenomenal. So when you see these couples walk in, and do you peg them right away?
Yeah, you can kind of tell. I mean, absolutely.
Okay.
There's always continuous conversation. There's no quiet. Generally speaking, there's no quiet moments.
Right.
And you can kind of tell for sure.
All right.
And you don't see, and that's kind of cool. Really, is that you don't really see many people in our restaurants on their phones.
Right.
And I know, like my wife and I have been married 38 years. When we go out to dinner, sometimes it's a Tuesday night's usually our date night. And we just don't feel like cooking, and we just want to go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, occasionally we're guilty of grabbing our phone. You know what I mean? But 38 years. 30. I mean, we're.
All right. Well, let me see here. Oh wait, I'm not married. Never mind.
But that's a good sign that they're not immediately trying to go somewhere else.
For sure.
Besides the relationship in front of them.
Right.
And that's that's what it's all about. Is having something to talk about and giving them
and actually paying attention.
That's so important.
Right? I mean, just actually paying attention. And Jasmine, hi.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you
is
so
Jasmine.
much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I was just overhearing you guys talk outside, and a question stumbled upon my brain, and I was wondering if I could ask it to you.
Sure.
To him?
So yeah,
Okay,
well,
go.
honestly, to all you guys, honestly, it would be great to hear multiple opinions. So being 25, and honestly, I'm not super young, but I'm not super old either. But you do kind of see it. It's very trendy amongst my age group that relationships just don't last as long as they used to. My parents have been married for 40 years, it feels like, and you don't really see relationships last that long. Do you have anything that you could give to a younger person to really show them that it's worth it, to put in that extra work and to not go to bed angry and to really get over it?
Well, you just got to fight for the relationship. I mean, you got to be willing to fight for the relationship. I just don't, I truly don't believe that people get the fact that relationships are hard.
Sure.
I've been married 38 years, 35 were great.
Sure.
And 3 were challenging. I mean, 3 were challenging. 3, we worked our way through it. But if you love somebody, you gotta put the time and effort into them. And a lot of it's just listening to each other.
Sure.
I mean, gosh, how long did it take me as a guy to realize all my wife wanted to do was have me listen to her?
Sure.
She doesn't want the solution.
Sometimes
I'm a problem solver. I'm like an engineer. I want to solve. When she says something's wrong, no.
We're not looking for logical. We're looking to complain a little bit. And you to say, okay, I get it.
Honestly, tell them that.
Yeah,
tell them that. Sure. Don't make them go through what I threw. I mean, I went through years of being an idiot, and trying to solve the problems when all my wife really wanted me to do was just give her an ear.
Sure, absolutely. It was nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you will love the speakeasy, so go check it out.
Oh my gosh, speakeasy! Oh my goodness, yes, I will totally come and see you guys.
Need the code word. I know that for a fact. And then, okay, so what's your answer to Jasmine's question?
Along the same lines, because I think it sounds like we've had kind of a similar experience, is to be present. So we all have a day where we walk in and we don't want to deal with anybody, and it's been one of those days. And sometimes those are the days that you really have to kind of fight and focus and stop. I've been unfortunate that my wife had an adult job our entire marriage. So I was racing for a lot of years. Now I'm in a much more stable position, but she had to be the adult through a lot of it.
Sure.
And a lot of that is when you're back home, and I'd be gone 6 months out of the year. So when I was home, I took the kids. Go do what you got to do. Spend time, be present. What's in front of you and go, wow, there's all these things here that I need to do. Sometimes you have to stop and move that to the side and sit in front of your person and go, okay, how are you?
100%.
How are we?
Sometimes I feel like I'm not necessarily looking for the ask. I'm looking for the, oh, I see something, something needs to be done about it, or maybe I need to say something, and the action happens itself. So for sure, I completely agree, Dave. Thank you so much.
There's a lot of big issues that the kind of little issues that are loud and cloud the big issues.
Sure. Sometimes
you can get hung up on the minutia of it and not see the big picture.
Sure.
And that's some of what living life and being out in the world gives you. And I wish at your age, when I was your age, that I'd stopped and refocused some of this. It's literally a 56 years of learning to get me to the point where I kind of think I know what's going on, and I'm guessing just as much as
you're doing
else.
Great, Dave.
On the outside,
your wife and kids, they love you.
It's the duck theory. You're calm on the surface, and below the water, you're paddling.
It's everything we don't
work.
see, for sure, 100%. I appreciate you guys.
So
Thank
quick
you so
question.
much.
Okay, so you said you have date nights on Tuesday.
We do.
Okay, so and how about you?
We're at the beginning of empty nesting.
Oh.
So usually Fridays used to be our night because my youngest would work late and my oldest is away at school. So it would it would literally be I don't feel like I do most of the cooking in our house.
Okay.
I don't feel like cooking. Do you
Oh,
feel
you
like
guys have
cooking?
something in common.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's half
The
the
way
reason
a
I'm
woman's heart is
indoors
through her
because I
stomach.
cook, frankly.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you just get to that point where it's funny because we talked about it this year that we had to kind of relearn. You get so used to being out with the kids, and my kids are 21 and 23, so it's not managing them, but it's just two more people, and then all of a sudden it's
a whole different environment.
It's a
right?
whole different
It's a whole
dynamic.
environment. So, okay, so one word of advice to any new relationship out there.
One word of advice. Jeez, how do you give anybody one word on anything?
I don't know.
It's the same theory. I think that especially in society now, because for me, again, being older, I think things move a lot faster now.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything, just the steps and procedures and relationships in life seem to move 3 times the speed that I remember it. So I think sometimes pulling back and focusing on what's in front of you and taking that time, I think in this day and age, that's almost the greatest gift you can give somebody is to block out a spot and go, look, we're going to sit down. And even if we're sitting in the living room watching something that we both enjoy, or I know we're both cat people, sitting with a cat,
Heck yeah.
and hanging out, sometimes it's that break in the everything else and the stopping and focusing on what's in front of you.
So you're wrapping it up as slow down.
Yeah.
Put the phone down.
Yes,
Good
put
idea.
the
Right,
phone
slow
down.
down and put the
yes.
phone down.
Yes,
right?
thankfully I was pre-cell phone when I was
Jealous.
How old
I'm
are
so
you?
jealous.
Your age. Oh,
Just kidding, Dave.
Yeah, you're fine.
Just kidding. Okay, so thank you guys. I appreciate. I was at the Speakeasy a couple weeks ago. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for
And-
coming down.
Yeah, no, and it's just the idea of I don't have anyone to date, but but if I did,
Hey.
I would want to go there, right?
Absolutely.
It's just kind of a cool, laid back place, and even the Detroit Historical Society. It's a cool place to go with other people.
Sure. We always try and be involved. We try and involve at every level.
Mhm.
So we try when you're building exhibits and doing these things, you want to have something that appeals to everybody straight across the board.
Right.
So our goal is, and when I don't work in the museum proper, I work in our collections building, as you know. But a lot of time I'll go to the main and just kind of walk. And you'll see, because of our proximity to Wayne State, you'll see college students that are obviously on a date. And frankly, at our door admission price, we're pretty reasonable.
Right.
So it's a cheap date. You can go and hang out and spend some time. We see a lot of families. So is our goal in writing these exhibits is to make them accessible to everybody.
Right.
We want everybody that comes in to have an experience unto themselves.
And that is awesome because, if you have an experience, then you have something to talk about.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't like each other, right?
If it's a diversion, that's fine too.
It is, right?
It still counts, I think.
If it's a convertible, a yellow convertible.
Sure.
Right. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Okay, so hi, Barbie.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, what do you have in your hand?
I have a book.
You do?
Yes. By Mickey K. Barrera.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know who she is. Are you familiar with?
She's my mom.
So here's a quiz. So tell me about the book.
It's a mystery.
And don't give it away.
No,
And
I'm not going to give it away.
So she's one of our vendors.
She is.
She's one of our vendors, and I think she's doing quite well.
Yes.
We also have 586, that we just
Yeah, Jasmine
was
just
right here,
walked out,
right.
right?
So she has her lotions. So that
Yes.
she's doing very well out there as well.
So yes, so this has been amazing with the vendors that we have outside, and then also, so Barbie, we are showing Getting Ed Laid with Ed Asner and Gene Smart, and that is a short film, 24 minutes, that you were the executive producer.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
I love that.
I know it was a privilege.
Yes.
So it's one of those things you don't know what's on a bucket list, and then there it is. So
Right.
it was fun. It was a lot
Right.
of fun. Learned a lot.
And so that has not been seen that often, has it?
No,
Or-
it hasn't. I
Okay.
made the short circuit, the short film circuit, all the festivals for about 2 years. And then you get rotated out. You can only go so many. And then we had a premiere here at the Maple when it was open.
Right.
And other than that, it's on Amazon Prime. And so for a while we were getting a lot of hits on it.
Mhm.
But it's what is that? 8 years now.
Oh, it has been that
Yeah,
long.
it's
Okay.
2016. We filmed in 2000. Nope, we filmed in 2015,
Okay.
and then it was released in 16. And then we did a lot of other stuff with Mr. Asner 4 or 5 years. So
Okay, so he has a foundation, right?
Yes, he
And
does.
for
Yep.
What and what was the? what
it's
is the
it's the Ed Asner Foundation for autism. And it is a family center. So it's a family center where anybody with a disability, but mostly it's built around autism because he has 2 grandchildren, 2 children, 2 grandchildren. And they can come and just relax. It's stimulus free. It's just chill. You can play a game, you can play pool, you can watch movies. And it's just where people can just come and relax and be around people of like mind, like ideas, like faith, that kind of thing. So.
Okay, so we showed that short film at 7:00. We're going to show it again at 9, which is awesome. I haven't seen it yet. So one other thing I want to talk to you about is because Barbie is not just she doesn't just direct the show here, but she also styles me. And we took a fun trip to the VOA MI thrift store in Westland, and it was so much fun because there were things that I thought I would never want to wear, and then she's like, "Oh, we can put a belt on this. We can put a brooch on this." She can put this on me, and I'm good, right? So, but it is amazing because I mean, the whole idea of thrifting for a cause is really what it's about, right?
It always is. Always is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if it's not if it's a thrift store that isn't for a nonprofit, it's still keeping it from the
landfills.
Yeah, the landfill. It's recycling. It's got a story. It's got someone else's story. It has a special purpose for the most part,
Right.
And it's just kind of interesting. And then you go to a thrift store or a vintage store and you see it, and it's like 10 times what the person paid for.
Right.
So wherever they are, it's gonna kind of be fun to look down and go, yeah, I bought that for 10 cents. Look at that.
Right, exactly. And of course,
So-
we've got Jason here, who
Yeah.
is the co-owner of Time Warp Vintage. And Jason, I actually haven't been to Time Warp in a while.
No.
Because it's been kind of crazy. But the whole idea of when you walk in there, you see the Pyrex, you see all this amazing stuff that like my grandparents used to have, and you remember the candy dish and the different things. And I think as the holidays approach, that's one thing that people want.
Yes.
They want to be able to walk into an area where they can remember something from their childhood or even a previous marriage. I don't know. So, but the idea of Time Warp, and we're actually doing a show there.
We are on the
Yeah,
23rd.
on the 23rd. So I'm excited.
Caffeinated Conversation morning show.
Yes, so I'm excited about that. But the whole idea, so if somebody has never been to Time Warp Vintage, what would you tell them about it?
That it's a walk down your past. It's a walk down your past. And you can walk down an aisle 6 times and see something different every time you walk down it. I'm a 100% agreement with Barbie that thrift stores, vintage stores, used stores, secondhand stores, upcycling stores, they're all ways of keeping our planet clean. And one of the main reasons we opened Time Warp is so that we could, because I looked at vintage as the ultimate way of recycling, because you're upcycling things that, we're only caretakers of these things.
Right.
They will outlast all of us.
And that's amazing to think about when you really put
Yeah.
it in that perspective, right?
Yes, it is.
It is. So
And some in a good way and some not so, because
Right.
they'll last us out in ways you don't want them to.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Please. Okay, so we asked the relationship questions, but I didn't ask the New Year's resolutions questions, right? Because obviously the holidays are right here almost. Hi, Gail. How are you?
Good. With,
Come here.
good person with New Year's resolutions.
Right, the chocolate. What's going on?
Hi.
Hi.
What could be better than an ugly Christmas chocolate sweater?
Right? I know. I love that.
So I'm here to promote some holiday joy with a really unique, delicious spin. You know, we've heard that the latest craze is ugly Christmas sweater, everything.
I think we have some out there.
There's no ugly Christmas sweaters chocolate. So I'm here just to share with the audience and let you guys know that it is available. And it's Belgian chocolate, and it's made with holiday cheer and passion.
And that's all we ask for, right? Is holiday
So they
cheer
can see
and
the
passion.
little
Okay,
ugly sweaters.
what's your
How cute
website?
are those?
This one too.
Yes.
It's platterschocolatier.com. And it's a 4-piece solids of Belgian chocolate in different patterns.
And perfect stocking stuffer, right?
Perfect for colleagues, for clients, for staff, stocking stuffers, whatever you want.
For spouses?
Spouses too.
Not me. I'm allergic to chocolate.
That's an ugly sweater I'll take.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Gail, so much for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And okay, so Barbie, you can eat chocolate.
Yes, I do.
Can she have one of those?
Yes, she can.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
But they're not ugly. But
They're not ugly at all.
There you go.
This one's ugly.
Merry Christmas.
This one's,
Oh.
this one's
I think she wanted her to try it.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, I want you to try
She
it.
wanted you to try one.
Oh, you know what? You can take one out of here. I
Okay.
just
Here.
uncovered it.
Then I can give this one back.
Yes. Or you can keep it.
And now we're doing
Uncover
an
it.
official taste
Look how big
testing.
they are.
Is this edible too?
Yes.
Oh.
Whole thing's edible.
Is it good? As I'm chewing.
Apparently, she's hiding it.
Here, Gail, you get a gift card too.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
This is really good.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gail. Okay, so we have to wrap up because we have a 9 o'clock showing of
Yep.
Getting Ed Laid and New Year's resolutions. Okay, so
What's yours?
what? I'm not answering that.
Oh.
I'm reading everyone else's. Okay, so this actually falls in line. I don't know who wrote this, but it says being more present.
Oh,
Okay, so that's kind of what we've heard tonight, right?
it is.
It
Absolutely.
is. Yeah. Okay, so here's another one. Be more creative. I love that.
I like that one.
Right?
Mhm.
Here's another one. Don't bother making one. Who wrote this? I look at Sue every time. I'm like, Sue, did you write this? Okay. All right. So hold on. Take more time for me. Okay. So real quick, self-care. It has a stigma. Carrie's not here anymore, I don't think. But the whole there she is. So the whole idea of self-care, people think, oh, that's so selfish and you don't need to go get a massage or a haircut or, whatever it is, right? But
Right.
what do you do for self-care? How about you, Jason?
Well, I say Steve does the same thing.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an ability to zone
Yeah.
out.
Zone out,
It's
right?
just to focus in and-
What was the question again?
What is your New Year's resolution?
Okay, so I don't usually make one, even though that is because I usually break them quickly, but
Mhm.
I always do goals. So my New Year's resolution is to advance my company and to advance caffeinated conversations.
Woo-woo! We love that. Thank you. And okay, so we've got 2 more. One is to win the lottery. Damn it. That's a quote.
Yeah.
It says that.
I'll add
And then-
that too.
Okay, and this one is my favorite. What is your New Year's resolution? It's blank.
Mhm.
Okay, there it is. All right. Listen, thank you guys so much. This
Absolutely.
has been an amazing night. I didn't know what to expect with having the event. I get these big brain ideas, as my twins say. They're like, oh, another big brain idea with mommy. And I'm like, we're going to have vendors, we're going to have pinup girls, we're going to have carolers, we're going to do it all. And you know what? We did it all. We did it all. Thank you so much, Barbie.
Even
Thank you so
with
much, Jason.
The big old Santa behind you.
I know, and my
Hey, hey,
Santa.
hey,
Okay,
Oh,
good.
it's falling over.
Come here, big fella. I love you. Thank you, seriously, everyone, for being here. It's amazing, and this is our 3rd After Dark
Yep.
show. But of course, the morning show is on season 2, episode 5.
I think 6 is the
Six,
next
oh,
one.
six now.
Episode
6
6.
now. And I'm just looking forward to
No,
2025.
6 was this morning.
Oh,
six
yes.
was
So
this morning.
7 will be
7
Next
will
week?
be next week.
Next week, and we'll be right here at the Imagine.
God, we're
10
over
and
a
the
year
next After
old.
Dark.
And the next After Dark will be in February.
February.
And that one is going to be very exciting because it is February 12th, and the theme is Pretty in Pink. And
Yes.
we're actually going to be showing the movie Pretty
The
in
movie,
Pink.
Pretty in
There's
Pink.
going to be some fashions by Barbie, and maybe I'll have pink hair by then. I don't know.
You might.
I might, right? I might. Exactly.
So
Are-
are we all going to dress 80s?
Yes.
We're all going to dress to 80.
Yes.
Dress in the 80s.
Yes, right? How fun will that be?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you,
My
Alex,
time.
so much for everything you've done. Liz is back there
Yes.
somewhere. Bob is there. Jeff is there. Everyone. I mean, honestly, this is beyond my wildest expectations. So I just can't thank you enough for being with us. So thank you so much.